everybody. Welcome or welcome back to BnB Anime. It has been so fucking long.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
You have forsaken me for 6 weeks.
I know. Well, you you were away for a week too.
We had that pre-recorded.
That's
My
true.
absence was handled.
I got the spicy cough though.
You got the extra spicy cough.
Yeah.
You managed to avoid COVID for 2.5 years, and then you're like, all right, come get.
Yeah, I somehow managed to get it when everyone else had already had it. Like, I'm late
Right?
to the party.
Very, very late.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is that my brother and my parents, who still live in a different province, got it, 2 weeks before I did. And none of them had had it before either. So all four of us were like, oh, we must have some kind of, inbuilt immunity. And we were being really snide about it and being like, yeah, we're just, it's just something in our family genes. We're fine, you know? And then they three get it, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Right?
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, and I'm like, how did I went through a whole school year at university and didn't get it. A few months working at my new job, didn't get it. I went, out, did things, was about, you know, not even, mask regulations here in Toronto have been out, gone for a while. I took public I was on the bus on a daily basis, you know?
Yeah.
And I didn't get it. And I was fine for 2.5 years. And then my parents get it, my brother gets it, and then a week later, I get it.
It was meant to be.
It was like, we waited for you. We had a special strain just for your family. We had a few evolutions to go through before we hit you guys, and we're going to hit you all at once.
It's like, did you know how hard I had to mutate to be able to get you people?
Fully.
I'm so upset.
It was fully like that as well. Because, a few weeks before then, one of my co-workers had gotten COVID, and the 2 days before, she tested positive and didn't come into work. I shared a drink with her, and I didn't get it then.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. You're like, yeah, I drank after them, and everything was fine. Then, boom. But you made it. You made it through.
I survived. It was not fun, and I do not recommend. Especially do not recommend if you have a loft bed like I do. Because, my bed is above my desk. I have a ladder to climb to get up there. It's great for saving space in small studio apartments. However, it's not great when you can't lift your arms because you're too weak to do so.
Yeah, and not only that, but just being tired, so the climb is just awful.
So I slept on the couch for COVID because I wasn't sure if I would be able to get back down again in the morning. So I slept on the couch.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
I slept on a couch for 5 years, so it's fine. It's fine. I get that.
Yeah. But yeah, you were gonna tell me. Okay, so before we pressed record, Brad was telling me a story. Well, he was telling me about his trip because Brad went on a cruise. He went on holiday. He went out of the country for the first time in his whole life.
Yeah, never left the States whatsoever, and so I got to go on a trip. So I was telling Blue about all of this beforehand, going over everything, how I had pizza every day for lunch, got to experience some of the most beautiful water that I've ever seen in my entire life. The oceans at Princess K were some of the most beautifully clear scenery I have ever seen. It was all fantastic. It was all great. Nassau, on the other hand, was a trip. So I was offered drugs, not even 5 minutes off of the boat. I can't even drink alcohol, let alone try to do hard drugs.
Don't do drugs.
Now,
bad idea.
Yeah, don't do drugs. It's bad. Don't do it.
No.
Now, on the cruise for dinner, we were there's communal tables for pretty much everyone. If you did not go on a cruise with a big enough group of people, most likely you will be at a table with people you do not know. on this particular cruise, my girlfriend and I were the only two out of our whole friend group that went. Therefore, we were placed at a table with 4 other couples. Among those 4, one couple never showed up. I explained this to you, so I feel like I'm retelling it, but at the same time, I feel like everybody has to be prefaced the whole thing. So the other couple may have happened to them what actually happened with the first, with the group I'm about to talk about. So another couple at our table, which, by the way, this is the most profiled I've ever felt in our entire life. They looked at who we were, our ages, everything else, and placed us at a table with a group of couples around our age. Like, they were all very close in age. It was very, very interesting. So anyway, back to the point. The couple at our table were almost kidnapped.
Yes. Yeah, this is as far as I got.
Technically they were like kind of kidnapped, but not really. I'll explain.
Okay, I want to know.
So at Nassau, whenever we get off, like, you go through like a whole decrepit port situation, and then you get into like the port city of it. Nassau, kind of dirty. Not gonna lie. Like, not sitting here and trying to like talk shit about the port area, but out of all 3 ports that we went to, that was the most decrepit area that I have ever seen. Anyway, and so like immediately you get the vibes like, unless you like want to shop there, you want to go to the straw market, because apparently the straw market in Nassau is like world famous.
Right.
So, like, if you want to do that, that's fine. Just don't, like, try to stray away from all the street vendors that you can, or at least that's how it was always explained to us. Well, to the couple that were with us, they completely disregarded all of this, because they were walking along, and then they met a gentleman who went by the name of the Waterman.
Okay.
And the waterman offered them water, to which they declined, but then he was like, y'all want something else? And the husband of the two was like, I don't know, what are you offering? He's like, hang on, what are y'all doing? Like, what are y'all about to get into? And the husband's like, well, I mean, we're getting ready to go to the beach. Tell you what, I'll take you to the beach. Just come with me. Oh. So they get in a car with this complete stranger at a port city. And they, for one, dude did not drive properly in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Yeah. Like, he was telling us, like, he was like flying through these back streets, talking to them and like playing with his hands. He was driving with his knee, flying through the streets, weaving in and out of cars. Oh. And along this trip, he asked them, he's like, hey, y'all want some weed? Mm. And the wife was like, nah, I'm good. But the husband was like, you know what? It's fine. We can relax. It's fine. We just can't take it back on the boat with us. So he's like, all right, cool. So he takes them to a random house towards the outskirts of the port.
This husband has no self-preservation.
None whatsoever. Now, granted, they were also extremely plastered.
Okay.
They had been on the ship all day drinking up to that point. Actually, I don't even think that they had slept at that point. Like, they were still doing, like...
It was still the day before to them.
Making burgers.
Ah.
Which I will get into, because I got a whole, like, cooking experiment done this week.
Okay.
That I thought about enticing you with, but also you're vegetarian, so it wouldn't have enticed you too awful much.
I mean, I have meat memories.
I mean, that's true, but I don't... It wouldn't be fair for me to sit here and talk about how absolutely amazing these smoked chicken wings that I made were, and how, like, they were the juiciest things I have ever made.
Okay. We're going off track, but I have a bone to pick with this situation. Because every fake chicken wing that there is like a cauliflower thing. Mm-hmm. I fucking hate cauliflower.
Now, I have had some good, like, cauliflower crust pizza. Like that, I let slide because it works well. Also, I've had some cauliflower mashed potatoes, which were so covered in, like, butter and garlic, and, like, I guess processed, like run through a food processor to the point to where like they could easily pass for mashed potatoes. And I would almost say, like, if my sense of smell had not been destroyed to the point to where I think my actual sense of taste has gotten better.
Okay.
By the way, have you gotten all of your senses back?
I have. I think I'm probably at about like 85% smell back.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like I can mostly smell. There are some things where I'm like, this smells weaker than normal, but I also don't know if I've just forgotten how my nose works, you know?
Yeah, that's one of those things to where sometimes I question, like, if I could smell again, how would I know that everything was the same?
Yeah. I don't think I ever lost my taste. I just think that when I thought I had lost my taste, it's just that I had lost my smell and couldn't taste as strongly because of it. Because, you know, like, they'll do that with, like, those fancy food critics or whatever. They'll, like, plug their noses and get them to eat and guess what it is, and they have, like, a really hard time doing it because smell is, like, 50% of taste or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
But, yeah, so if it wasn't for that, I don't know if I would have been able to distinguish that they were cauliflower or not. Other than it was kind of like a slightly gritty texture, maybe? Like, you know how cauliflower bulbs are.
Yeah, I just don't like cauliflower, and I just don't understand why every single chicken wing substitute is cauliflower. Like,
I don't know how you would properly, like, try to substitute that, though.
Well, I've had, like, Chinese food chicken that's been substituted with soy, like tofu mixes, but, like, not tofu because it was really dense, and that was really good.
I was gonna sit there and say, like, maybe there's some kind of soy thing. Like, I'm sure I could come up with something. Give me enough time, and should we ever meet up, I will try at some point between now and whenever we inevitably get together to come up with a recipe of a chicken substitute that is as close to chicken as I can possibly get it.
Well, because KFC has this new chicken burger that's vegetarian, and I'm so curious.
I mean, it's probably just going to be nothing but pure batter.
But who the fuck cares? That's the best bit anyways.
I mean, exactly. I get that. Yeah. Which, by the way, the skin on these chicken legs that I made were phenomenal. But
skin
also,
was always the best bit. I used to peel the skin off of the roast chicken on Sunday roast and just eat that. It was my favorite bit.
I mean, I have learned a lesson from this that cornstarch goes a long way to, like, making, like, super, like, crispy skin. So that chicken turned out fantastic. I'm very, very pleased. I made 34, like, really large drumsticks. There were none left.
Wow.
And I think there was, like, 7 of us that ate, so I think I did pretty good.
Yeah, you did good. Anyway, back to the kidnapping.
Yeah, back to the kidnapping. So, they pull up to a house.
Yeah.
And dude was like, all right, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get us some weed.
Okay.
And so he's like, how much y'all want to spend? And they were like, I don't know. Like, how much is it here? He's like, $60. So I don't know, like, how familiar you are with, like...
I am not with market price.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Like, I didn't know if you even had, like, any sort of idea, because I know, like, weed isn't your thing or anything along those lines. I just didn't know if you have, like, an inclination on any of it.
I couldn't price it in my wildest dreams.
Okay. So, needless to say, like, $60 here would at least get you, like, a couple of ounces. So,
okay.
I don't know if you can imagine, like, how much, like, a couple of ounces of weed would be. But it's a plant. So, therefore, like, you can kind of get an idea of how much, like, say, a couple ounces of herbs would look like, for instance.
Yeah.
To kind of put it in perspective, because you like your herbs and your witchcraft and all that kind of stuff. So, that type of thing. Yeah. However, so dude goes into this house, and he's in there for maybe, like, 10, 15 minutes during this period. And, like, they're in, like, apparently, like, a sketchy type neighborhood. Cops pull through.
Okay.
They freak out because they're like, oh shit, here we are. 2 foreigners at a house that's probably known for drug dealing.
Yeah.
Cop just goes through. It's fine. Nothing went wrong. Everything's fine. So dude comes back out, hops back in the car, and presents to them a nugget. Have you ever seen like what a nugget of weed looks like?
No.
It's like one small bulb.
Okay.
Like, I'm
imagining, this is so bizarre. So you know how owls eat food and then they cough up like the bones and skin?
Yeah.
That's what I'm imagining.
Okay, so imagine like 2 cloves of garlic. Like not a head, but the cloves. 2 cloves of garlic stuck together.
Okay.
So you get like a vase type shape, if that makes sense.
Okay.
That type of thing.
Okay.
That size. Just one nugget.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what $60 got.
Okay.
So, yeah. So they were like, I don't know what's going on. Like, this is either some really good fucking weed or we got ripped off.
Yeah, they got ripped off.
Oh, they most certainly got ripped off. But anyway, so dude takes off. Again, he's like, hey, y'all need anything? Like, y'all need some water or something like that? They're like, nah, man, we're good. Like, everything's fine. He's like, all right, cool. Hands the weed back to the wife because wife is in the back seat. Husband is in the passenger seat.
Okay.
So he hands the rolling papers and the weed back to the wife. And he's like, hey, will you roll these up for us? Well, obviously, he's still not paying attention to the road, driving with his knee, weaving in and out of cars. Mm. So she breaks the nugget up into the crumbles, puts it into the rolling papers, and then he's like, all right, I'll take it back. So he takes the joint back and proceeds to piece the whole thing together while looking at them having a conversation, not paying attention to how he's driving, and is just continuing to take them in the completely wrong direction.
Nice.
Which, I mean, it was actually in the right direction. It's just it wasn't the direction of which they came. Therefore, they had no clue where the fuck they were going.
Right.
So he rolls it all up, lights it, takes a puff, hands it to the wife. She refuses, hands it to the husband. And the husband's like, sure, fuck it. Why not? If I'm going to die, at least I'm going to be high.
Okay, fair.
So he hits it, hands it back to the dude. They're talking. And so they carry on. He's like, all right, I need to make one more stop. I need to get some ice.
Okay.
Now, for those of us in the criminal justice world or in any sort of like know-how of drugs, know that ice is another term for meth. Mm-hmm. He wasn't actually getting meth. Dude actually got like a bucket of ice.
Okay, fair. I was like, I've seen enough episodes of Criminal Minds to know what this is.
Okay. So I didn't know if you would actually get that connotation or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, he's like, now before I take y'all to get that, I'm gonna go get some ice. He actually stops at an ice dispenser and gets a bucket of ice. So he can cool his water because he's the waterman.
Fair.
And then he takes him to the beach and everything's fine.
That's so hectic. Like,
And that was the first day. Like, that was Saturday. We got on the boat on Friday. We got on the boat at Friday at 4 p.m. We were at the beaches of Nassau at 9 a.m. on Saturday. Had not even been on the boat for a full 24 hours and already got kidnapped, but still made it to their destination.
Like, have they got, like, any sense of self-preservation?
Apparently not.
Like, I'm kind of used to hearing stories about blokes specifically that kind of go off on wild ones on holiday, especially, but, like, in general, they'll just, like, find themselves in dumb situations. But I feel like women, because we're kind of, from very young age, we're told to, like, you know, always watch your back, take your keys with you, but when you, like, don't go into parking lots at, you know, late at night. Like, it's kind of ingrained in our brains from a very young age, regardless of your opinion on whether or not we need that information. It is still taught to us at a very young age. The fact that she went along with it, with her husband's antics, is what's blowing my mind the most.
I mean, at any point, she could have said no, and he'd be like, all right, fuck it, yeah, you're right, we just need to carry on. We need to go.
Yeah, I cannot believe she got into a car with a stranger, even with her husband being there.
In a foreign country.
In a foreign country.
Neither of them were in any way, shape, form, or fashion the least bit intimidating.
Yeah.
Like, for me, like 6'4", 325 pounds, big burly beard, like walking through, just a look on my face. People will not approach me. Street vendors did not say a word to me other than the two that tried to get me to buy drugs. Those two, kudos to them for having the balls to try to get me to do it.
They were hustling, man.
They really were.
They had a quota.
Oh, shit, my dealer's gonna get pissed if I don't get this shit sold.
They were trying to recruit you and needed a way in.
Hey, man, you won't stick around and sell some shit?
Yeah. We could use some muscle like you.
God, I wouldn't even try to, like, offer people. I'd just shake them down. Grab them by the collar, turn them upside down by their ankles, and just shake them for their lunch money. And then, like, kindly, like, flip them back over, set them down, dust them off, and then just set the drugs in their pocket and go on about my business.
Yeah, just push them away like a kid, like a parent, a toddler at school. Just like little nudges. Off you go.
Yeah, like fix their hair, give them a little pat on the head, maybe even a little smooch on the cheek. Just, mwah, there you go. Go on.
Have a good day. Be good. Enjoy your drugs.
Enjoy your excursion. I found my new calling. I need to go take another cruise.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Oh, God.
Anyway, Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen 0 at that.
Yeah.
It is the prequel to the mainstay Jujutsu Kaisen series. And my God, was it fun to sit down and revisit this again.
Yeah, I feel like it's been so long, even though in reality it hasn't actually been that long.
I think it's been almost a year or almost 2 years now. I think we covered it in like January of 2021.
Yeah, it just feels like, I mean, in the anime world, it's been quite a while considering the amount of intense content that we've had come out since Jujutsu Kaisen.
Speaking of, we got news, man.
Yes, we do, and I want to hear all about it.
Well, I mean, some of the news is actually Jujutsu Kaisen pertinent, so therefore it kind of makes an easy segue into Jujutsu Kaisen.
Mm-hmm.
So it has officially been confirmed that My Hero Academia Season 6 and Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 are going to run for 2 consecutive cours, totaling 25 episodes each.
Oh, okay, fair.
So, if they drop JJK in the spring, which is highly likely, we will have a full year of shonen from My Hero starting today at time of recording, October 1st, until October of next year. Because My Hero will run until April, and then if Jujutsu Kaisen starts in April, it will run until October.
Damn, boy, we're gonna be busy.
Oh, yeah, and there's death coming.
Yes. Yeah.
My Hero Season 6, what all is going to encompass, because I am completely caught up on the manga at this point. And then we found out that the Jujutsu Kaisen second season is going to encompass the next arc following the where the first season ended, and then the following arc past that, which is the Shibuya incident arc. And I have seen TikToks. I don't know who dies. However, it showed like a family photo of like 10 different people, and then like slowly photoshopped people out until there was like 2 left. And I'm like, oh my God, who's going to fucking die?
Oh, wow. Okay.
But also the whole anime community has been going apeshit over apparently Nanami going to be animated shirtless. So got that to look forward to.
Okay.
Oh, God. But yeah, so that was a thing. In other news, we got sequels announced, and I'm so excited.
Yes.
My Dress Up Darling has officially had its sequel announced.
Mm-hmm.
But also, for bigger news for you, because I know you weren't as 100% content with Dress Up Darling as I was, guess what else got announced?
What?
Bunny Girl Senpai.
Ah, okay.
We're getting another sequel.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. And it's going to cover 2 different light novels, so I'm assuming it's actually going to be a series and not a film.
Okay.
So I believe the first one, or the first arc, is going to cover the sister, if I remember correctly. And judging from where the film left off, I'm not ready to cry.
No.
There's going to be so much crying going on over the next few seasons, and I still don't know how I feel about it, and I'm sad.
Yeah, it's gonna be something, that's for sure.
But on the flip side, we've officially gotten confirmation that Dr. Stone is going to air in the spring.
Which I'm stoked about. Dr. Stone is still one of my favorite series of all time. And the last season kind of left both of us feeling a little bit lackluster. So I think that's a good thing for this next season. I feel like we've kind of lowered our expectations a little bit for this coming season. But also, we both still have high hopes. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. And then the last piece of news, and I saved this one for last, because I have been teased to the end of my wits over this.
Mm-hmm.
So it took 9 fucking years to get a sequel of The Devil's a Part-Timer.
No way.
Season 3 has already been announced for 2023.
No way! Okay, I'm stuck. Okay.
I'm so excited. I got to watch the last episode of season 2 on Thursday, and I'm so excited for us to cover it. I have absolutely adored the second season, and I'm so excited to watch through it again for this.
Nice. Yes. Very excited.
So yeah, needless to say, y'all are going to be getting a whole lot of new shit over this, because my God, the summer season actually didn't disappoint as much as I thought. Like, I know at the start of summer, I said, all right, here comes our filler arc for the podcast, which actually a lot of it did turn out to be fucking filler with Anime Island.
Yeah, but I mean, things happen.
It does happen, but my God, I could not have hit the nail more on the head with that.
True. That's very, very true.
But now fall is here. Well, we're healthy, and my God, have we got some shit for y'all. We've even got new shit.
Yeah, I was just going to say, speaking of new things that are coming out, we are doing a new thing here on our YouTube channel where every week we are going to be uploading a short little video about the new episode of Spy Family that dropped that week, starting this week.
Yeah, so look forward to that, because as much as I could sit here and gush about how absolutely amazing the first episode was of the second core, you're going to have to wait until shortly after this releases, because the video will be out.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, so JJK0?
Yeah, let's jump into it.
I should not have tried to segue that without having the actual information I needed pulled up.
That's okay, because I have information, so I can jump right in and you can catch my tailwind.
All right.
Yeah, so Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is a film. Yeah, you probably knew that already. It's a movie. That's all the information I have. Sorry about that. You're done. Your turn, Brad. No, just kidding. It has a drop rate. I am still kind of apprehensive about drop rates on things that have only been released for a little while. Obviously, this is out in theaters, but it has only been on Crunchy for a fairly short amount of time. And obviously, drop rates on films vary differently from drop rates on series, because most people are going to watch an entire film all the way through, or people are more likely to drop a series halfway through, right? So the drop rate is a 0.15%, which I actually believe is higher. Let me just double check. Than this. No, it's not. It is still lower. Jujutsu Kaisen, the first season, is a 0.91%, which is still our reigning champion for the lowest drop rate of a series. And the fact that it's 2 core still kind of blows my mind. So Jujutsu Kaisen 0 having a 1.15 feels high, but like I said, that may change depending on how many people watch and report. I think it's still pretty early days. We'll see when I recalculate all of these at the end of the year.
Which is going to be here before we know it. Oh my
I know,
God,
it's
it's October.
I know. I've already done a month of school.
Fucking hell, mate.
Isn't that insane?
Oh my God, that is insane.
Yeah. Anyway, Anime Planet scored it at a 4.47 out of 5 or an 8.94 out of 10. My Anime List is an 8.51 out of 10, which makes an average of an 8.73 out of 10.
E.
So JJK0 was directed by Sung-Ho Park, which is the same director that did the series.
Mm-hmm.
The film is based off of Jujutsu Kaisen 0, written by Gege Akutami, which
I have a little bit more background on this than normal. So I am going to fuck all of this up because I didn't do the prerequisite information on this that I actually meant to. However, I know at least somewhat.
Okay.
So JJK Zero, although it was done after the first series, so therefore by that you would believe that it was actually written beforehand, but actually it was Akutami's original work into Shonen Jump.
Oh!
It originally had a different title, and that's where I fucked up because I did not actually get it. However, once it was picked up and fully serialized, they decided to rename it to Jujutsu Kaisen, and then therefore actually started its full serialization from 1. So it was originally published as a 4-chapter manga, and so therefore that's how it got its start. So even though it was adapted prior, it's still, like, it truly was a prequel. It was just, renamed and restarted. Sorry, I was supposed to do more background than that, and I forgot I fuck it up. It was done by MAPPA because it's obviously MAPPA, and I don't know. I know very few other studios who could do fighting animation that crispy, that well. So yeah, definitely MAPPA has a runtime of 105 minutes or 1 hour and 45 minutes, depending on how you want to do it. In the Japanese box office, it did 13.75 billion yen, which equates to $137.5 million US dollars. And in the worldwide box office, it did $196 million.
Yeah, and if you're curious about other things that MAPPA has done, that because you would have definitely heard of them here on the podcast before, they did Remain, which was our water polo anime that we covered a couple of months ago now. Yuri on Ice. They have done some of Vinland Saga, I'm seeing.
They're actually doing the second season of Vinland Saga, which is supposed to be coming out in January, if I'm not mistaken.
And one of my favorite animes of all time, Kids on the Slope.
And shall we even get into the anime that's probably going to take everybody's anime of the year this year? Does it even need to be said at this point?
I mean...
Fucking Chainsaw Man!
Fucking Chainsaw Man. I mean, like it's... Yeah, I feel like it doesn't even need to be mentioned. It's all over social media. We've spoken about it multiple times here on the podcast.
I haven't been able to shut up about it since I started reading the manga. It's that goddamn good.
Yeah.
So to finally see it animated, I'm so excited. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be so much fun. But then it's also earned our ire, or specifically mine, because Attack on Titan Season 4 is the most rubbish, poorly animated piece of shit I've ever seen in my entire life. That is my feelings, 100% my own. Oh, fuck Mappa, you fucked up what Wit started. All right, I'm done.
Yes. Yeah, and there's also, I want to cover Days, which is a football anime that they have done. That I haven't seen any of.
I'm down.
Yeah, so I don't know if we will actually cover it as a full episode here on the podcast. It may be something that we just kind of watch and chuck up on the YouTube channel, or do a quick review of at some point, because, yeah, we'll see. But there's a lot of new content that's coming out that we want to jump on right now, so we'll probably get back to revisiting some older stuff, but we want to jump on this new stuff as it's coming out. Yeah, okay. Quick synopsis, Jujutsu Kaisen 0, as Brad had said previously, is a prequel. All of the trigger warnings, I'm just going to put a blanket everything. It just in general.
Yeah, that's kind of deserved.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely trigger warnings that it doesn't cover, but it pretty much, I would say, it's just easier to cover all your bases and say that it covers more of them, because I would be here for 4 hours if I listed every single one. So, just in general, every single trigger warning you could possibly think of probably is in this anime.
What was this rated, by the way? Was this rated R?
It's an R17 plus for violence and profanity.
Thank God. I was going to say if this is PG-13, I was going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Because this is definitely R-rated.
Yeah, it fully is R-rated.
God, it was R-rated in the first 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, this whole, like, it jumps into the deep end very, very quickly. So, as Brad said, this is a prequel, and it's covering the 4 students that we kind of, like, the upper year students that we first met in Jujutsu Kaisen, the series, and more backstories towards them. We also get a little bit of a hint towards backstories towards Satoru, with his friendships and things of people he knows people, and we get to learn more about those relationships throughout this film. Other than that, yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
It's just more Jujutsu Kaisen, death, demons, gore. If you like Demon Slayer, you'll like Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Although there's less comedy. I think that's the big difference between the two shows. Because even a lot of the animation styles, especially in this film, I found very comparable to that in Demon Slayer. The fight scenes, even to the point of the very specific noses that you see in Demon Slayer, I caught glimpses of throughout this film specifically. So I wonder if an animator has changed teams or if they've just simply been inspired, because in this film specifically I was like, it just for a second I was like, oh, same studio, and then I was like, actually no, it's not the same studio. So I think the fight scenes are very comparable. The biggest difference I noticed between Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer is that Demon Slayer has comedic breaks. Jujutsu Kaisen doesn't really.
No, and JJK is meant to be a lot more serious for the most part. Gojo and the current cast and crew kind of give off those vibes, but this was not meant to give off any of those vibes.
No.
Because it shows why our second years are a lot more reserved throughout the first season.
Yeah.
And kind of gives an inkling as to why Maki has the attitude that she has.
Yeah. We did get some revealing of that backstory in the main season. It was kind of reiterated throughout this.
If you have seen the first season, then this will fill in some gaps that you have. If you have not seen the first season, you can watch this, and honestly, I'm very intrigued by the thoughts that people have on this, and then watch the first season. Because I could see it kind of twisting some ideas that you could potentially have about the show.
Yeah,
depending on the order that you watch it in.
Yeah. There are some scenes in this film that are just gross as well. I don't really know how else to describe them. It's just gross. I think Jujutsu Kaisen has the animation style of a lot of the demons in it, and then some of the gory scenes have a level of just being icky. They freak me out. It's like they give me like Ghibli Spirited Away kind of vibes of some of the creatures in it are just like, they just give you the ick, you know?
Yeah, I kind of understand that. I didn't get that too much with this one as I did the main series of JJK.
Fair. Yeah.
But we're also currently rewatching through JJK, and This Is Fine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I get to watch people react to it all over again, so I'm having a good time.
Yeah. So, with that being said, spoiler chicken hats on.
Yeah.
And let's jump into this.
Our homeboy Yuta isn't doing too good, is he?
No. He needs a nap.
Dude had bags under his eyes this whole film. Even after shit got better and he was happy, homie still had bags.
Yeah, he still needs a nap.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Homie was getting better, learning how to use his spirit powers, had a crush.
Had a waifu.
Yeah.
He was an engaged man.
And that engagement didn't work out so well for him,
No.
did it?
No, it kind of was a little bit toxic.
Little bit.
There might have been some attachment issues there, I feel like.
Little bit. So, homie is getting bullied, and then all of a sudden, you just hear a really creepy voice go, Utah! And then cut to a red room with a locker squeak open, and there are meat puppets in a locker.
Yeah.
I don't know what better way to put that other than the bullies got stuffed in a locker. Yuck.
How did they... Okay. The living situation of how much people's bodies can endure in this series does not make any sense. But that being said, have you ever seen Doctor Who?
No.
Okay. There is a scene, a monster, an enemy in Doctor Who from my childhood that were these like alien creatures that would wear human skins as suits. But the creatures were much bigger than humans. And so there were only specific people that they could fit into. And they had to release gas as a way of, like, keeping themselves in the suit. I think, like, they wouldn't fit, or, like, they breathed out gas. Or basically, they farted, and it was all a giant fart joke. But that locker scene was giving me meat suit alien creature vibes.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then we are presented with a very similar scene of what we saw in the very opening of JJK, of Yuta being sat in front of Gojo, and Gojo's like, hey, so listen, you can either get your shit under control or you're going to be executed because the powers that be are absolutely terrified of you and Rika. So he's like, you got a choice. And he's like, I'll try to do better, but at the same time, life isn't going my way. Look at this pocket knife that's been turned into a wine bottle opener.
Yes.
And then school montage.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so he, sorry, I got distracted. Did you?
I see why you got distracted.
Yeah. They're kind of cute, though.
That looks like something out of Men in Black.
Yeah, same vibe. Same era, probably.
Probably. Was this the 90s?
90s, early 2000s, I feel like.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, when I was little enough to be still in the UK. So yeah, before 2008.
Look at that.
Look at that. School montage, getting to know people. Him and Panda are now besties. They're discussing boobs. It's a good time.
Also, can we talk about how? So Rika is this almighty special grade curse that the moment that Yuta is even slightly threatened, she slaughters people.
Yeah.
Yuta was threatened the moment he walked into the classroom by our second years, who are currently first years, because this took place a year before the original series happened.
Mm-hmm.
And all she did was give him a bop on the head.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? Like, whenever
did.
it cuts back to the classroom, they just have that little knot
Yeah.
on the top of their head.
But that goes to, because, like, spoiler alert, we already did that. But the whole thing is that Yuta created her curse, right?
Yes.
So, Yuta's feelings towards them aren't the same as his feelings towards the bully. And she, as his curse, would be able to understand that, right?
Either that, or maybe Gojo actually, like, stopped the whole thing and bopped them on the head. Because I can also see Gojo doing that, too.
Fair, yeah.
Also,
Yeah,
can
the
we
fact
talk
that he
about
just
Panda
didn't
being
tell
a
him-
stuffed puppet? Yeah, he had the same little bop lump.
Yep. But the fact that Gojo
dumb,
just
I love
didn't tell him anything, like, takes him to this new school, and it's just like, oh, this is a school? Oh, I'm here to study Jujutsu? Like, what?
Yeah, you're going to learn how to exercise curses.
Yeah.
Also, it's just Gojo being Gojo, man.
Yeah. Well, he's consistent, that's for sure.
That is 100% the case.
Yep.
Oh. But
Yeah.
then we get reintroduced to Geto, and that dude's kind of a dick.
Yep. Yeah.
But also, training montages.
Training montages, a couple of months pass.
They go on missions?
They do. Utah, there's a school scene, elementary school, 2 kids have gone missing. Big fight, him and Maki. Maki gets cursed in the stomach of a giant curse. I want to call them demons, but they're curses.
Yeah, they're curses, but it's fine.
And 2 kids almost die, but they don't, because Yuta puts Maki and the kids on his back and lets his curse do her thing.
Rika was having a blast shredding that thing.
Well, she was like eating him and thought that was it that scene that she was like, oh, pretty, like,
yeah, like literally tearing it to shreds, getting rained on by purple blood, and she's like, it's so pretty.
Yeah, my aesthetic, purple blood.
This is just the shade of purple I wanted. My nails. How did you know?
Yeah, gonna paint my room this color.
God. That just gave me vibes of an old lady that tried to get me to match her bruise for a paint color. Oh, God.
Wow.
Have I never told you that story?
No.
Okay, so in a previous life, I worked in a paint store. I still work in a paint store. It's just an entirely different company. But previous life, because previous paint company, I had an old lady come in and walked up to the counter, and I mean little old lady, frail, like you blow on her, and she would fall over and break a hip and need life alert and all that shit. And holds her arm out to show me a bruise on her wrist. And she's like, hey, young man, can you match this bruise for me? It's just the right shade of purple that I am looking for. And I was like, no, get out. I've never been so uncomfy in my life. I was like, no, ma'am, if you would like to go over to the color wall and pick out a color that you believe is close, I will be more than happy to make that for you. But I am not sticking your wrist for that particular color up to my color eye and scanning it because for 1, COVID, 2, fuck no.
Yep, fair.
Also, if you're that frail, the color eye would probably bruise you more.
Yeah, true.
Oh,
no, there's this little old lady who comes into the coffee shop.
Uh-huh.
She gets what's her order again? She gets just a small coffee. I think she gets a medium blend. Yeah, she gets a medium blend coffee. And she pays in cash. But then the change, she's always so specific about how she wants her change. And here in Canada, like, we'll accept American money.
Uh-huh.
And, like, it's just very common for us to, like, if your quarters mix in with our quarters, like, we don't give a shit. Like, they just blend in.
It's the same here. Like, the quarters are very similar.
Super similar. So if they mix in, you're just like, oh, it's an American one, and you don't even really think about it.
Uh-huh.
Every now and again, though, you'll get, like, a euro or something. You'll be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we don't accept this. This isn't fair.
Go to Quebec.
Yeah.
They deal in that shit.
But yeah, but she doesn't ever want any American money, so we have to, like, filter that out for her. And in Toronto, I feel like there's a higher increase in American money than you get in buttfuck nowhere, Alberta, right?
Uh-huh.
But anyway, she's very specific about that. She also tried to give me old Canadian money the other day, like the not plastic kind.
Oh?
Yeah, that's not legal tender anymore. Like, hasn't been for like 15 years. I don't know. Like it was, I don't know, I was in middle school when it switched over, so at least 10 years.
This old lady is pulling fucking mattress money out of her retirement.
For her coffee, yeah.
Just walking around the house. Hey, dear, can you please get me a quarter out from under the bed? I require my medium roast for the day, please.
Yeah, and originally, like, I would try and help accommodate her, but she's gotten sassy with me, so I don't anymore. So I send her over to the back counter to pour her own milk in our coffee. And
I'm so glad we're the same fucking person. People get sassy with me at work, and I'm like, all right, you can go fuck yourself. I will not help you anymore.
No, I'm not pouring your milk in your coffee. You can go over to the self-serve, miss. And so she goes over there, but we've got new shitty lids right now and new shitty cups. Like, They're the worst. So, okay, so we have the branded cups in the small, medium, and large size, right? And we only have left the small cups in the branded. The medium and the large are just like generic cups. Because we ran out of the branded cups, like head office, everyone's ran out. We're like back, like orders are not happening, ran out. And I guess they've just like, well, fuck it, you know, we're gonna get holiday cups coming in soon anyways. We'll just use these for the time being. And then whenever we get the holiday cups in, we have to switch regardless. But the normal coloured lids that we have to go on the branded cups don't really fit very well on the generic cups. So they sent us generic lids to use. And they're fucking the worst things ever. They are so bad. They're like you went to a festival and they were offering free coffee and you burn your hands through the cup and you burn your tongue through the lid falls off, you spill the coffee's burnt anyways, you're having a miserable day. That cup and lid is the situation that we're working with. It's horrible. Anyways, so
Sounds
she needs
horrible.
help. Yeah, she needs help putting the lid on her cup, and it bugs me every time. I'm just ranting now about this little old lady who's just living her best life, but she's sometimes very rude. Anyway, that was a tangent I didn't need to go on. I'm getting off my horse now. Let's go. Yeah.
Can we talk about getting to see how powerful Inumaki is again?
Yeah.
That shit wild.
Mm-hmm.
Twist, and then contorts, and then pops.
Yep.
Like, oh.
Yeah, and we got more speaking scenes from him, especially with the run away. Even though, like, you know, it wasn't sushi, but it also wasn't a curse.
Salmon.
Maki roll.
You know what? I'm gonna do just for this episode? Our description is going to be entirely in Inumaki speak.
Fair? Yeah, I'm down.
I'm totally doing that. I'm putting this in the episode for everybody to hear. So if you're questioning as to why our description for this episode is fucked, you know.
Yep.
I had a stroke of genius, and then I'm just running with it.
People who watch the first season will get it. Yeah. So yeah, kids in giant thing. He rescues them. Then, Gojo is like, "Yay, good job, good boy, well done." More fighting happens. Bad guy.
Geto steals. Yeah. Suguru Geto steals Yuta's ID card and then begins to stalk him because, you know, as you do.
Yeah, he's like, "You have a girlfriend and I want her even though she's like 5. I mean, it makes sense if you see the film. If you haven't seen the film, that sounds so bad.
Yeah, out of context. That's going in out of context quotes.
Yeah.
Even though you have no part in that Discord server that's going in out of context quotes.
And Suguru, starts stalking Yuta, and also, like, twists some fat guy's head off. Some, like, old money laundering.
Oh, yeah. So Geto collects curses and then can release them at any point. So he releases these curses that are like little floating demon baby things that sucks and twists the dude's head off.
Yeah, like, gross.
And then Geto just shows up to Jujutsu High and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to try to recruit you, but instead I'm going to be a dick to your friends and piss you off because the power of friendship in anime is the greatest power anybody could ever ask for." And then Gojo shows up and he's like, "Here's the ID card back. By the way, I'm declaring war on December 24th, so y'all don't get to enjoy your Christmas because instead I'm going to fuck you all up, okay? Love you, bye."
Yeah.
Is that an accurate enough description?
I honestly... Happy Christmas, have a good one, kind of.
Yeah, like, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then Christmas comes around.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "All right, I'm going to be in these 2 places," and show up with like 10,000 curses, 5,000 at each one. And so all the Jujutsu sorcerers, except for Maki and Yuta, they stay back at the school. Literally everybody else go to 2 different locations. Gojo's looking around and doesn't see Geto, and he's like, okay. Yeah, like he's not here. And then Gojo and Miguel fight, and it's one of the most majestic fights I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, and simultaneously while this is happening, we're getting cutscenes to Yuta and Maki, who are talking about the fact about her backstory. This is where we're kind of getting more filled in for her. And she talks about her glasses, her cursed objects, all that kind of shit. And very quickly it becomes obvious that there's a reason why those 2 were kind of isolated from everybody else, and shit starts to go down at the school.
Yeah, Geto shows up. That was his plan all along, because he's there to steal Rika and make Rika his most powerful curse that he possesses.
Yeah, and I feel like this specific storyline has become a kind of a cliche in anime in the past little while, of like, send the kids away. All teachers are outside of the school. Kids, stay in the classroom where you'll be safe. Never safe. I mean, My Hero has done it like once a season for the past like 6 seasons now.
All the time. Teachers are even there, and they're still not safe.
Yeah.
God, this entire next arc is like everybody against a few people.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, so yeah, Geto shows up and he's like, hey, I'm gonna take your curse. And Maki gets absolutely bodied.
Yeah, she like gone. She's
like,
pancaked.
We don't even get to see her get bodied. It's just
like puddle.
Panda and Inumaki shows up because Gojo uses some instant transmission bullshit on them, doesn't even use it on himself because he's too busy, gotta go kick Miguel's ass.
Yeah, and Panda could have been on dive.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And then Inumaki, just poor feller. He tried. He tried. Panda lost his stuffing.
Yeah.
And Yuta, through the power of friendship and seeing his friends get bodied, decides to go Super Saiyan with the power of Rika. And we get another really very flashy fight scene. I think Tengen would be very proud of this.
And this is the specific fight scene that really took me back to Demon Slayer. I don't know if it was just the use of Yuta using a sword that was lit with light that like triggered it for me, but it was also in these moments where I saw the resemblance of the profiles in the anime characters. So I would be interested to see you watch this specific fight scene over again and to see if you can see the same points that I'm thinking of.
I'll go through again and watch it dubbed. By the way, JJK dubbed is actually really good. So for those that, you know, want to determine whether or not you can watch it subbed or dubbed, either one's perfectly fine. We watched this dubbed, and then now that the Discord is watching it and I'm rewatching it, we're watching the entirety of JJK dubbed, and it's like, I'm enjoying it.
Good, yeah.
So since I'm watching it dubbed, I can actually pay attention to that a bit more. And I'll do some digging, look at it, and then we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so come to find out, Yuta can use a lot of other different curse techniques, and we'll find out why in a moment.
Yeah.
So he fights some more. Finally, he's like, you know what? Fuck it. Trump card, Rika, I will join you in the afterlife if you give me all of your power. And Rika's like, oh, power of love. Let me grow a third eyeball and then use a fucking death beam the size of the school to try to wreck this nerd.
Yeah.
And dude loses an arm.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that dude really got that loss handed to him.
Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. You went out on a limb for that one, didn't you?
Oh, I did.
We're back at it again.
I only go for the most grand of puns. Their finger looking good.
Yeah, that one deserves a facepalm.
As it should. I knew it was going to be bad, but I said it anyway.
Well, I'll bow down to you if you can come up with another one.
This is great. This is fun. I love this.
Yeah. Well, you gotta stop shouldering all the burden, you know.
All right. And then Gojo shows up, says something to Geto that we have no clue what the fuck he said. goes to talk to our people. He's like, hey, by the way, we did some digging. Yuta, you actually cursed Rika, not the other way around. So this is all your fucking fault. And by the way, we're related. So that's why you're as powerful as you are.
Yeah, it's like, hey, cuz. And also, existential crisis for Yuta for all of, like, 30 seconds whilst he's blaming himself for Rika. But then Rika has a moment of, like, I will see you in the afterlife, but you better not meet me right away there. And halo lights shining, and then he's just fine.
That's anime for you, man.
That's anime.
That's literally anime. Like, that is shonen anime to a T. Goku gets killed, says his goodbyes, everybody's upset for a second, then boom, right back to it. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, then they're just fine.
Death is not permanent in shonen.
No. Yeah. And then...
Did you watch the post-credit scene?
I did. I've forgotten it, though.
So this is where we figure out where Yuta was throughout the entirety of the first season. He is with Miguel looking for that rope that could kind of, sort of, but not really stop Gojo's powers.
Yeah.
Because Gojo can't be stopped if he goes serious, which, can we talk about how just brutal that beatdown was on Miguel? Like, Gojo wasn't taking it seriously there for a while, but once he got serious, dude stood no chance and got his shit absolutely rocked.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was real bad.
Yeah. I also want to know what those spices were that they were putting on their food.
Was probably delicious.
Yeah, it sounded good.
But yeah, that's JJK, so what do you rate it?
Okay. Well, funny thing is that scrolling down into the comments of my anime list, I am seeing, like, more reviews on people not liking it, than I am seeing reflected in the ratings. So I feel like the people that don't like this have very strong opinions on not liking it, strong enough opinions to leave detailed comments on anime review sites. Whereas people that enjoyed it didn't enjoy it enough to leave comments saying how much they enjoyed it. However, did enjoy it enough to rate it highly on the rating system. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I feel like there's a small portion of people that really didn't like this film. And then there's a larger portion of people that enjoyed it and had a good time. And that's kind of where I'm at. I think that the series, in my opinion, is better than the film.
I mean, yeah, 100%. But this was also written to not ever get a sequel.
Yeah.
But then it got serialized, so he's like, oh, shit, okay, here we go.
Yeah. I like the movie. I feel like it's less original than the series. And that might simply be because I've already seen the series and this is a prequel. And sometimes I can't filter that from my own brain. But I feel like some of the plot lines I've seen in other animes before, some things of it were pretty cliche. I enjoyed getting to know some more about some of the characters in the backstory. I did find my brain wandering a little bit whilst watching it. So I feel like I'm going to rate it like an 8. Like, animation is fantastic, voice acting was fantastic, fight scenes were amazing. I enjoyed getting to know some more about the characters that we already have had established. I didn't enjoy it as much as Jujutsu Kaisen. I still think it's a good watch, and I think it does well as a standalone film. I think that you could watch it without having seen the series, which I think is a good thing. So I'm giving it an 8. Where are you at?
I give it a 9.
Yeah?
I think it was great. It was a good film. Animation, on point. Soundtrack, on point. My only issue, the love situation, not necessary.
No, agreed.
Now, granted, the romance that Yuta and Maki had, I kind of like that, because it was like slow burn. It was nice. But I realized they couldn't have told the same story if they didn't like focus so much on like Yuta and Rika's relationship. So I kind of get it. But at the same time, they could have dialed that back. They could have dialed that back a little bit, and I'd have given it a 10. Because outside of that, checked every box. It was great. In theaters, we were all pumped and having an absolute fucking blast whenever we watched it.
Yeah.
But outside of that, still a good time, though.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I feel like the child puppy love romance is very cute. And I feel like they could have had that have been a thing, but I don't think that those Like, I feel like they could have played more off of survivor's guilt.
Yeah, they could have done something like that.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for this from us.
Yeah. So, thank you all so much for listening. Blue and I greatly appreciate it. We have socials at BnB Anime on literally everything. We have a website, www.bnbanime.com, where you can find links to literally all of our bullshit. And we have a YouTube channel that hasn't been updated in a while because the last few episodes to go up have all been Anime Islands, which are already there, which you should check out because it's a fun series that I've been doing that I'm very passionate about, and I need to get more guests because I suck.
Yeah, you don't suck. The Anime Island episodes are great, and we love them. And Brad works hard, so give Brad some appreciation for his W's. He's doing good. Yeah, if you want to find more about Brad, to watch him and be entertained by him, you can go onto Twitch at BradCarterGaming. Via Twitch, you can also find his Discord where he has fun watch night parties and shit. And you can join in with watching Jujutsu Kaisen with the group if you want. I have socials as well. I'm at BlueLavander STM on Instagram, even though I never post. But you can see some of my art up there. And then I also have an Etsy shop where you can buy my bookmarks if you want, at BlueLavander Crafts if you're interested. That's kind of
buy
it.
a bookmark. They're fantastic.
Aw, thanks. Yeah, that's it.
All right. So, thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate it. We will catch y'all next week for Sing a Bit of Harmony, because who doesn't love a good musical anime film?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think you'll like this one more than Belle.
I'm very interested.
So, but yeah, thank y'all for listening. We'll catch y'all next week. And then also be on the lookout for Spy Family episodic reviews. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.